In the kitchen making taffy, sweeter than Matty.
Hello everybody, I'm a big fan of movie marathons. What I like more than movie marathons are actually movie journeys, or just you go on these long journeys where you watch a series of films and you're actually learning something about the movies themselves, how they came to be, just watching them and experiencing them. Usually this can be an entire subgenre or genre. More often than not, for me, it's a director's work or an actor's work. Right now, I am to give you an example, I'm going through the films of
Vietnamese-born director, producer, and screenwriter Tsui Hark,
who I hadn't seen any of his movies. All I had heard is that his one movie, Zoo, Warriors from the Magic Mountain, was the inspiration for one of my favorite movies, Big Trouble in Little China. So it had been on my radar for years, and I just hadn't watched it. Just got around to being willing to find the time to watch it. So the way my brain works is, instead of just watching the movie that I was planning to watch, I was like, let me start from the beginning, or at least as close to the beginning as I can, and just watched all of his movies. And if I don't like the first movie, then I'll just skip to the Zoo movie and end it there, because I at least wanted to see that one. But it turns out this guy is amazing. He's hilarious, and he has a wide variety of different genres he tackles. There's a lot of humor, though, strung throughout. His very first movie, The Butterfly Murders, I tried to find. I couldn't find it. So I had to start at his second movie, which was a cannibal horror comedy, like a parody on cannibal movies. Oh, sorry, I had my air conditioner just came on, and that would have been way too loud, so I had to shut it off. Anyway, so it's like kind of not a spoof, but it's like a parody on cannibal movies that used to be made in the 70s and 80s. And this one was made in 1980, so it's like right around that era, that age. So it just follows a series of characters and cannibals, and it's humorous, and it's bloody, and it's violent.
A parody of cannibal horror films and an early film of Tsui Hark. We're Going to Eat You shares a similar indie feel with the early works of Peter Jackson, such as Bad Taste and bits of Dead Alive, in terms of gore and camera work. Hark basically takes this overall style and blends it with a martial arts film. One of my favorite blendings of genre is martial arts with horror, but then again, I would pretty much love anything blended with horror. The film is overall a goofy affair in the best way. If you are interested in checking this film out, it is now available for free on YouTube. You just gotta search the title.
That is a lot of his movies. Maybe not the bloody, but he's a genre film director. He either does horror or crime or like a spy film. Whatever he does, it's all within the oeuvre of genre filmmaking. So the second movie of his, We're Going to Eat You, is what it's called. That was really good, so I went to the next one. Dangerous Encounters of the First Kind. I didn't continue watching that one because it opened up with some animal cruelty, and I'm not with animal cruelty. So I was like, okay, I'm shutting this off. I went to the third one. At the same time, I can forgive the director, the filmmakers, for doing it, because everybody was doing it back then. So especially in other countries. So I can forgive it. It's definitely worse if someone were to do that today, but that doesn't mean I have to watch it. So I didn't watch it. I went to the third movie, the fourth movie, which was All the Wrong Clues for the Right Solution. Now this is more of a spoof. This is more of like a Zucker Brothers spirited comedy in the crime genre. It's like noir crime, and it has the feel of a Marx Brothers movie, and it's hilarious and great. And this is the first place that I saw this one guy. I can't remember his name right now, because like I said, I'm just going through this now. I haven't been able to retain this knowledge, but Carl Macha plays the main bad guy, Capone, and he pops up in a movie that I saw after this, because this director produced this series of films in this country called Mad Mission. They're called the Mad Mission films. And I figured, instead of skipping to 3, which is he directed the third one in the series, I just said, let me just start the Mad Mission films. So I started watching the Mad Mission films, and he stars. He's like the second banana to the main dude in that series, and I'm like, wow. And I watched that series or that first film, and that's hilarious too. It's actually, it was amazing to go from We're Going to Eat You to all the Wrong Clues to then Mad Mission. It was like the same mind was creating it, was orchestrating all of this. I guess in a way it is, but also you start to notice, you start to recognize the same faces. And it's just been a really great experience. I recommend it to anybody. I finally saw Zoo then, Warriors from the Magic Mountain, and that was an experience. The effects in that movie, how they did everything. It's all homegrown effects. I think it was 81. It was 81 that it came out. So there's obviously no CGI, but there's like some light rotoscoping effects and stuff like that, but most of it is just like using the reversal camera tricks and just building shit and doing shit, and it's all right there, and it's weird and it's fast, and the spirit of Big Trouble in Little China definitely exists within that film. But I still prefer Big Trouble in Little China, but I would highly recommend Zoo to anybody. Absolutely. And then, so now it's funny to be talking to you about this now. So on my slate are the Once Upon a Time in China films, which I haven't seen. At least the first 3 films I'm going to watch, the one starring Jet Li. He directed all of those.
Why are there so many swords and daggers on the table? Tsui Hark's ode to the films of his youth is a very anti-gun movie. The Chinese of this era/film look down upon anyone possessing a gun. They consider those who do to be honorless cowards, very much like the sport of hunting, where the less capable human needs a rifle to take down the ferocious lion. There are even scenes where said people are shown accidentally shooting themselves. I just love the way that Hark moves his camera. There are so many beautifully choreographed shots here. He has always reminded me of Sam Raimi in this way. And of course, the fight choreography, staged in part by the great Wu Ping-yun, Kill Bill and Ip Man fame, is equally superb. The Chinese title for this film is Wong Fei Hung, named after the historic lead character. It was changed to Once Upon a Time in China for the English markets to echo Sergio Leone's spaghetti western films. The theme song used in this film was commissioned for use from an instrumental version which appeared in the original 1950s Wong Fei Hung series. It was updated for the 90s and given originally written lyrics. This was a wise decision, as it truly has a way of worming its way through your brain. The musical score is also very powerful throughout the entire series. I recommend checking them out, you know what I'm saying? Here are 2 more entries for you from the Once Upon a Time in China series. First up, we have Once Upon a Time in China 2. Look at those fools, giving up their lives for that idol. If we are all so rotten, how can our country be saved? Where can we go? We can't escape. This one opens up with a bang. There is a whacked-out demonstration featuring incense eating, skin slicing, foot burning, and body shooting, which is quite amazing and insane to watch. That White Lotus gang, the film's main antagonist, is cracked out of their gourds. This time around, we get an original tune by none other than Jackie Chan himself. Who knew he also did music? Nobody told me that! There is a short pole fight between Jet Li and Donnie Yen that is fantastic. When we arrive at the film's climax, we are treated to a final battle with the White Lotus. There is a decision made to fight insanity with insanity. I suppose that desperate times call for desperate measures, that's for sure. We also get a few more anti-gun moments when a little girl is accidentally shot. And now on to Once Upon a Time in China 3. The opening rickshaw chase scene is a martial arts highlight. There is so much impressive footwork and aerial stunts on display in this installment. Another scene highlight to mention would be the amazing Lionhead Festival competition. There is a character named Clubfoot who has a fantastic villain-turned-hero arc. The script is packed with humor, including some well-executed slapstick. Everything wraps up nicely in a gorgeous slam-bang finale that is the Lion King competition.
I'm even going to go into his American Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, starting with, I think it's Knockout, or Knockoff.
Knockoff shares its wild pace and style with Tsui Hark's Mad Mission films, also known as the Aces Go Places series. This is one of 2 films that Jean-Claude Van Damme did with director Tsui Hark. These films were perhaps an attempt to bring stateside relevancy to Hark's name, much like Van Damme did when he brought John Woo over with Hard Target. This particular attempt was unfortunately nowhere near as successful. Between this and his second film, Double Team, with basketball player Dennis Rodman, Tsui Hark's American career would fizzle out completely. Knockoff is one of Van Damme's more comedic outings as a performer. No doubt thanks to Hark's trademark silliness and goofy sensibilities, this is even evident in his epic saga Once Upon a Time in China, which we've talked about. The entire film is very East meets West, making for the perfect American debut. Hark, like always, is sure to bring his tremendously hip camera style to the table. I've always thought of him as the Chinese San Raimi in that way. I think I've said that before, but it's true. Comedian Rob Schneider co-stars as Van Damme's comic foil. This was during a period in the 90s where Schneider would often co-star in action films. Two others that come to mind are both Sylvester Stallone flicks. He had a bit part in Demolition Man and a bigger part in the very first Judge Dredd adaptation. But you can tell he was going for something different with Knockoff. His performance here is a bit more layered and includes a few intense dramatic moments. The film's oddly specific plot/setup has a Brian De Palma feel to it. It's both unique and elaborate, much like Travolta's Sound Man in Blowout, or when De Palma explored the world of pediatric psychology in Raising Cain. Knockoff explores the world of counterfeit products, both from the law enforcement side as well as the crooks who deal in them. The film also has a bit of a Jackie Chan feel to it, but Hark and Chan films have always had similar sensibilities.
And then the one he starred in with Dennis Rodman called Double Team. I'm even gonna watch that one.
Men are strong, but the tiger is stronger. This is the Tsui Hark film where Jean-Claude Van Damme is forced to fight a tiger in order to win his baby son back from a jacked Mickey Rourke. You heard me right. Looks like this might have given Ridley Scott the idea for the tiger fight in Gladiator. Wouldn't that be kooky? Rourke is giving it his all here as the villain. There are scenes in Double Team that are wildly ridiculous and some that are borderline brilliant. The sequence of Van Damme escaping from the prison island is fabulous. This film asks a few age-old questions like, what if Jean-Claude Van Damme was given the chance to play James Bond? What if Dennis Rodman was an arms dealer/Q-type character who spoke almost exclusively in basketball puns? Well, we finally get the answers to those questions, and it all unfolds with that classically nutty Tsui Hark spirit on full display. To say that Rodman was given tons of basketball lingo to recite in the form of Schwarzenegger-esque catchphrases would be an understatement. They lean on this one-note joke pretty hard, but also give surrounding characters similar lines. Pretty much anybody in a scene with him is talking about basketball without actually talking about basketball. It's like they're saying these things, and we know what they mean, but it doesn't seem like they know what they mean. Not sure if that makes any sense, but it's what we got. I guess the main problem is, if you watch this movie out of context, having no idea who Dennis Rodman is, you may think that you're hallucinating. Because other than Rodman being super tall, nothing else about him really screams basketball. He always looks like more of a tattoo artist or a bouncer at a sex club than a basketball player. Since this is a Tsui Hark film, it is constantly winking at the camera. I've never seen a knife fight where one of the fighters is holding a knife with their foot. But it's in here, and it's wonderfully unique. The script is generally silly good fun, but given its age, its humor definitely comes off a bit dated at times. There is a hilarious product placement on display, including a Coca-Cola machine that miraculously saves the day. This particular moment was a precursor to Spielberg's Nuke the Fridge. A few additional things of note would be that the great Sammo Hung did some of the fight choreography. Also, there's a song that plays over the closing credits that is co-performed by Dennis Rodman himself.
I'm gonna go. I really like the first Mad Mission, so I'm gonna watch all of them. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. So I'm gonna just keep going, and there's just like wealth of material that I didn't know existed, and I'm going to mine the depths of it. Now, as far as where to find all these movies, a lot of the ones that I've seen, I was able to watch on YouTube for free. Just search it in the YouTube search bar, and you'll come up with We're Going to Eat You. Watch that there. All the Wrong Clues for the Right Solution. Watch that there. Now, All the Wrong Clues is a great HD quality file, so that's great. And then Zoo, you can find it various different places depending on how you find these things. But you could, if you go on eBay, you can find Zoo for $5 on DVD if you want to do it that way. And Once Upon a Time trilogy, you can find that for $5, the entire trilogy on DVD. on eBay. Since you're experiencing these movies for the first time, you don't know if you're going to like them. I wouldn't spend top dollar on them if I were you. I was just like, tried it. $3, $5. The Once Upon a Time in China trilogy is perfect because it's 3 movies for $5. That's like $1 something a movie, if I'm doing that math right, which it's basically $1 something a movie. And then, yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'm even going to do some more of the stuff he produced, like the Mad Mission films he produced. I'm going to watch the Wicked City live action manga film. It is based off a manga or an anime. There's an anime version, but I'm not going to watch the anime. Or if I like the live action, maybe I'll go back and watch the anime. But this is all about Tsui Hark, so I'm going to keep it in there. It has to be something that has a name on it somewhere, and a little bit more than just him starring it, because he's also an actor, not like a big actor like he's in a lot of things, but he does star in some stuff. So that's it. I just wanted to share my methods of how I do this. And this is just one example. And then there's other ones to come, because this is just what I do. This is how I watch movies. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, so I think it might have a little something to do with that. But I love it. I love doing it this way. And it just feels like a big event this way. And you can do just watching by yourself or with other people, but it just feels more special. It feels like you're learning something. It feels like you're really getting a fuller picture. Obviously, I'm skipping around, and that's okay. You don't have to watch everything, because some of these directors, they have, so many movies, and so many of them aren't even available anymore, or were never released on DVD, whatever it is. So don't beat yourself up if you can't find every single movie, but you'll know the important ones to go to. And this is, like I said, one example of a director, just a little recommendation of how to watch films. And this isn't, a brand new idea. I'm sure lots of people do it this way, but I always do it this way. And it's usually it's a spark that just sets a giant fire. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. Goodbye.